Welcome again to another edition of my new YouTube channel. Thanks for all my subscribers, thanks for all the likes, thanks for all the comments. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we will still be having a look at some of the executive orders that President Trump has signed into effect. But the thing with those executive orders, most of them seems to be against the Constitution of America. So because it's against the Constitution, even though the president has signed off on it, it has to go through their judiciary system. And their system is not like ours in the UK. Their judiciary system is a bit different. So even though he's the president and he has signed those orders, the Democratic Party, or the solicitors, the lawyers, whatever they call them in America, they are fighting all these executive orders. So it's like the court is going to be backed up because actually almost most of them, they're going to be challenged. So you know what I was thinking? Who is responsible for paying for all those court cases? Where who's fighting for the president? Is it the taxpayers who are paying for those court cases? And then again, if it's the taxpayer, it can't be anything good because bringing so many cases to court that have to cost a lot of money. So all that money that you're using to fight these things, in which case some of them it's going to be very difficult for them to win. And then is all the burden again, as I said, come down on the taxpayer. But let's listen, let's look and watch and see where this is going.
Outside the law, an extra legal force, which again is quite common in other parts of the world, and that the people released from prison as a result of his pardon, the reason why he released not just non-violent but also violent people convicted of violent crimes, is because he sees this as an outside force that he can either directly or indirectly call on when he needs that kind of support. And it is very, very dangerous. I mean, it is terrifyingly dangerous that you could imagine a world in which he decides he wants to harass a private citizen. He wants to bring the power to bear on, someone who criticizes him or does something he doesn't like. And it's not just that he might ask Pam Bondi to open an investigation or Kash Patel, but that he would send subtle signals or not so subtle signals to these folks on the outside. And you could see harassment, you could see worse than harassment.
Look, we set up the perfect storm of terrible, which is that Donald Trump is immune from criminal prosecution. Great. Donald Trump enjoys absolute pardon power, and he controls the chief law enforcement officers of the United States. So he's got lots of tools here, right? He's got the tool that he can't be prosecuted for anything. He's got the tool that he could, direct, notwithstanding the fact that, Pam Bondi's answers to the contrary, that he will interfere with criminal investigations or give these people some sort of blanket immunity. And if they were prosecuted, anyway, he could pardon them, right? And that pardon thing is not a theoretical, right? It's not like every president could pardon. He has proven himself willing to do it. And if he's willing to pardon people who attacked cops, on videotape, right, where there's like videotape of them beating police officers. If he's willing to do that and do it in the just the most disdainful way possible, like he did, cavalier way possibly did, on the first day of his presidency. If you're one of these people now thinking that you're being inspired by Donald Trump and he gives you, a wink and a nod assurance, like you think that's real.
To appellate courts on an emergency basis. and then an emergency application for 1, 2, 3, 4, or more cases up to the United States Supreme Court. They can consolidate all of these cases because it's the same issue and bring it up to them, especially if there's a conflict of the courts, a conflict between the circuit courts. It automatically goes to the United States Supreme Court. I believe it'll get there in the next 90 days. And it may well be blocked by the Supreme Court, which will give us our first indication as to how they're going to rule on this. We'll continue to follow it all right here on, it sounds like law school meets a TED Talk, but we call it Legal AF. It's here on Midas Touch Network. So the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were free following the pardons yesterday. At the time back in 2021, the urged them to stand back and stand by. Is there now a place for them in the political conversation? Well, we have to say they've been given a pardon. I thought their sentences were ridiculous and excessive. One of the guys took down a flag that was an anti-American flag, and he was given years in jail. I don't know the exact number, but he was given many years in jail. I thought it was very excessive. And at least the cases that we looked at, these were people that actually love our country, so we thought a pardon would be appropriate, yeah. This is my...
Sometimes I wonder how Trump had a term before, and we all see how he behaved in his first term. And then for people to know, be saying that not to take him literally, take him serious but not literally, and we have seen what he has done. Remember what he did with the Muslim ban when he was elected in 2016. That, I mean, I don't understand. This man has told us what he's gonna do, what his intentions are, but for some reason they're saying, don't take him literally. When you see all the unlawful stuff that this man wants to do, you understand? Just as I was saying, he pardoned those people in the January 6th insurrection because he's trying to build a team for himself, not just with the military or whatever, but with all the backative that he can, because Trump realizes that people will do whatever he says. I don't understand. That man is almost 80 years old, and I'm thinking when you reach those age, you want to relax and enjoy life and whatever. Donald Trump wants to change. He wants to change everything. He wants to change everything. This man is going all out, and for people who are not white to support this man and think that he's gonna do things in your favor. This man want to take over the whole world. This man want to annex countries. This man is doing things that no other president has ever done before, and it's quite telling because a lot of people support him. I think it's over 7 million votes that he got. So although he didn't get the majority of the votes, but 70 million, that's a lot of people who have that kind of mental thinking to think that they are, because at the end of the day, this just come down to, like, they just think that they are the superior race, and he's gonna do things to let his side look better. And for people who think that we shouldn't get involved, we shouldn't business about this stuff, or it doesn't have anything to do with us, I think you're wrong. I think these things has an effect worldwide, because whenever America cough, everybody else vomit, the whole world feel it. The whole world feel the effect of whatever silliness they're doing. And I don't understand. It's just, guys, I don't know. But let's keep watching and see what's going on, because as the man said in the previous clip, this is we're gonna be having a 4 rough years under the Trump administration, and it's not even 1 week since Donald Trump is in office, and all these things are taking place. And then I'm telling you, when it comes on, especially to some of the Caribbean people, some of the Jamaican people, when you hear Jamaicans say they vote for Donald Trump because they want Donald Trump to get rid of other Jamaicans, whether they're there illegally or illegally or whatever. America big enough, America big enough can hold everyone. And if people are contribute to the economy, that means more money are put into the economy. Well, you can build other stuff, build other facilities to host these people, like to host communities. And it's like, I don't see how immigration can be a terrible thing, because if you have you set up a system where you have migrant workers and they're contributing to the economy, it's just that they just don't want people there that doesn't look like them, because I'm sure they don't have an issue with migrants, because you have a lot of illegal migrants coming in from Europe who are living in America. And those people, they don't get into any issue because they're able to assimilate. You understand? They're able to assimilate what black people can't assimilate. They stand out like, wow, see me here, I'm right here. Guys, I have to keep up and see what's going on, because something just not right. Because even the other day when they banned TikTok for a day in America, I just think that they're up to something, and it's not just a ban, I should say, sorry. It's not just a ban. Those people are up to something. They just want to be in control, and I believe, say, the organizations in America, like the big tech organization, me feel like them take over TikTok in America. Because why that big shutdown, like them a shutdown and a reboot the system, like, I don't understand. Anyway, guys, let's listen to some more of these clips.
Out statements and to really come down hard on any violations of the law by any militia organization, by any group that is trying to terrorize or harass people. And I think that's a big part of it. But having said that is the bulwark, is that going to be true in Republican states? Is that going to be true in Texas? Is that going to be true in Missouri? Is that going to be true in Florida? And will we see situations in those states where, maybe the prosecutors look the other way, or the governors put pressure on their AGs if they control the AG's office, which in some states they do, in some states they don't. So, look, I think we're in for a rough 4 years. But I think we need to be very, very serious about what Donald Trump is capable of. And the people who said take him seriously but not literally, that is some of the worst advice that was ever given. Because
so, guys, I am gonna be reading. I'm gonna be reading for you what one of the judges had to say in regards to the pardons that Donald Trump has given, especially to the violent criminals that caused chaos in the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. So it said the United States government moves to dismiss with prejudice, right, the 9-count superseding indictment against defendant Nicholas DiCarlo and Nicholas Och, I think. So those were leaders of some the Proud Boys of Hawaii, or some white extremist group, and they have pled guilty to what they have done, and yet they have been pardoned. So it goes on to say the two defendants in the case, one of whom founded the Hawaii chapter of the Proud Boys, and he also served as a senior leader in the group. Both of them they both admitted under oath their criminal conduct at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. They admitted these things. They admitted that they have done these things. So it's not a case where they were being framed or anything like that. These people admitted that they have committed a crime, but yet they have been pardoned. It goes on to say the two defendants in the case, one of whom founded the Hawaiian. Oh, I read that part before. Okay, the next bit says both men The both of them admitted throwing smoke bombs at policemen while on the grounds of the Capitol. Both of the men, they both admitted to breaching the Capitol building. They admitted to defacing the Capitol building and stealing equipment from law enforcement officers who were there in response to the insurrection, to what was going on. So they were on the job doing their job. They stole, and they responding to protect the building and its lawful occupants from what was taking place outside, the rioters. It goes on to say, the current posture of this case is that even after the defendants had admitted, they have admitted to egregious criminal conduct, both inside and outside the Capitol building. Why? And the government expending significant time. That's what I was saying. Who pay for all these things? Who pay for all these people to take these people to court? And the taxpayer, you know. And then this man just come in and free everyone. Anyways, it goes on to say, and the government expending significant time and resources in identifying defendants to investigate their criminal conduct, filing 3 separate indictments against the defendant. The government now seeks to dismiss the pending second superseding indictment against the defendant. Why? The courts have limited power when the federal government decides to stop prosecuting a criminal defendant. So once the federal government decides to stop something, the court don't have any say. They have limited. They have say, but they have limited. It's limit as to what they are saying. It says at the same time, the Supreme Court and DC Circuit have both recognized that the leave of court requirement obviously vests some discretion in the court to ensure that the government's request for dismissal of charges sufficiently protects the public. But this don't protect the public because these people are there, their organizations are there to cause harm to the general public. The public is not safe having these people out. The government may be required to submit a statement of reasons and underlying factual basis, which must be substantial to justify the dismissal. So, I wonder if now that the other side can bring back charges, can charge them again, if there's not substantial reason, factual reason to justify this dismissal, because that would be good if they're not just dismissed forever, but that the case is able to be called up in front of the court and justice can be served. It says here the government cursory motion provides no factual basis for dismissal. So the judge is actually saying Donald Trump team hasn't given them any facts onto why these people should be dismissed. And so, what do you think about this, guys? Anyway, let me go on. The only reason provided for this instruction, as set out in the proclamation introduction, is the assertion that this action ends a grave national injustice that has been perpetrated upon the American people over the last 4 years and begins a process of national reconciliation. How that I go reconcile? How they expect by doing that it's gonna pull people together and it's gonna these people. No national injustice occurred here. That is what the judge is saying. Just as no outcome determined election fraud occurred in the 2020 presidential election. So she has said there was no national injustice done. Just like how they keep saying, the 2020 election was stolen, the 2020 election was stolen. There is no the judge said nothing occurred to determine that there was fraud in the election or that these people should be freed. Well, American people have a long 4 years ahead of them, you know. They have a long 4 years. The judge further goes on to say, no process of national reconciliation can begin when poor losers, you hear that? When poor losers whose preferred candidate loses an election are glorified for disrupting a constitutionally mandated proceeding in Congress and doing so with impunity. So the judge has said they are sour losers, you know. Your team lose and you decide to break down the whole place because you're not going to accept that your team has lost. Like, these people are mad. That's all I'm saying. These people, the way how they think, their mentality is general. The mentality is something else. It goes on to say that merely raises the dangerous specter of future lawless conduct by other poor losers and undermines the rule of law. So what she's saying here is that this is just setting a precedent. So that in case anything like this happen again, they're gonna come out and fight for their leader, and they know the law is gonna protect them because they're gonna be pardoned. Because if Trump loses his election again, you understand, if Trump loses the election and they come out and do the same thing that they have done before, he can pardon them before in leave office, and then they will never ever face a day. They will never be charged for it because they will just do whatever it is that they want to do because they know that Daddy Trump is going to sort it out. Why, oh boy. This is just, hey. Having presided over scores of criminal cases, charging defendants for their criminal conduct, both outside and inside the Capitol building on January 6, 2021, which charges were fully supported by evidence in the form of extensive videotapes and photographs, also admission by the defendant. So these people admitted to doing the thing, and all those time they put in to prosecute these people, it just goes like that. This court cannot let stand the revisionist myth relayed in this presidential pronouncement. The prosecutions in this case and others charging defendants for their criminal conduct at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, present no injustice, but instead reflect the diligent work of conscious public servant, including prosecutors and law enforcement officials and dedicated defense attorneys to defend our democracy and rights and preserve our long tradition of peaceful transfer of power. Trump come and Trump change up everything. Trump said, nope, where there's a will, there's a way. I'm gonna change all these things. The judge further goes on to say, which until January the 6th, 2021, served as a model to the world, all while affording those charged every protection guaranteed by our Constitution. As to those two defendants specifically, so what she's talking about now are the guys that they are in charge of the extremist parties, like the supremacist kind of people, you know. As to these two defendants specifically, she said the judge said both of them admitted to their criminal conduct under oath. They admitted to this after consultation with their attorneys and pursuant to plea agreement to which they agreed. So they have agreed to what they have done. So how comes you pardon someone who has agreed to what they have done? Like, the judge goes on to say, bluntly put, the assertion offered in the presidential pronouncement for the pending motion to dismiss is flatly wrong. So she said, what Donald Trump do? There's right, none at all. Wrong, because these people plead guilty. They went through due process. They admitted to what they did, but still they're able to get a pardon. The government's motion to dismiss is granted. Obviously, she have to do it because that's what the president sign off from. So she have to follow. But denied as to request that dismissal be with prejudice. So what that means with prejudice, like Donald Trump wanted them to dismiss the case and just clean out the slate clean completely, and that case can never be brought up before the court again. But the judge flatly say she's not gonna do that. She's gonna dismiss the case, but she's not gonna dismiss it with prejudice. So that means in the future, maybe if after the next 4 years after Trump out of office, that if Trump not give him forever pardon, I don't know if that would work. So maybe there's a chance for them to take it back through the court system so that justice can be served, because this is, man, these things are just not right. She goes on, the judge goes on to say, nothing about the government's reasoning for dismissal warrants entry of dismissal with prejudice. Right? So whatever reason Trump team gave the court, it was not enough to dismiss it with prejudice. Dismissal with prejudice would bar any further prosecution of defendants for their offense conduct at issue. So at least it's still open where in the future these things can be brought up again in the courts so that justice can be served. The results would be improper here, particularly when the defendant's own admission, here she said, where the judge said, because of the defendant's own admission in plea guilty, they admitted to the crime, criminal conduct. This included, they say they throw smoke bomb at law enforcement. This is what they admitted to doing. Those law enforcers, they were just there trying to do their job as best as they can from what was taking place on January 6th at the Capitol building. And this provide ample basis for criminal prosecution. Of course, because them admit it and them see what they do on the camera and all of those things. So Hi, Donald Trump said no business. I'm gonna do what I wanna do whenever I wanna do it. And um, if you can deal with that, then then that's it. It's not only the judges that are against some of these pardons, even the fraternity of police, those people them back Trump 100%, and now they are upset because him pardon the January 6 rioters. I don't understand these people. Trump tells you what he's gonna do. Trump does what he says he's gonna do. But whenever Trump says he's gonna do something, you people don't believe him. Like, me can't bother with it sometime, yeah, man. Sure. Anyway, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let's stay tuned because I find this is gonna be an interesting 4 years for the Americans. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting 4 years.
I think I know who is actually penning all of the executive orders that Donald Trump has signed since entering the White House. You know, those ones that are ripping our civil liberties right out from underneath our feet. And let me say, on the record, this is just from my own reading, my own research, and just putting the puzzle pieces together. So this is going to be a little bit different from my regular content where I present the facts and we dissect it. But regardless, come on this journey with me, let me explain some things, and you tell me in the comments if you agree or not. This long-lost cousin of Voldemort with an actual nose, his name is Kevin Roberts. Kevin Roberts is the president of the Heritage Foundation. And if you know about the Heritage Foundation, you know that they are the proud authors of Project 2025. Now, Project 2025 has been rebranded under the name America First. If you notice, you never hear anything about Project 2025 because the Dems did a pretty decent job of exposing that for what it was, and it scared a lot of people. But if you rephrase things as America First, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Honestly, the whole situation is just a classic rebrand. It's like when Dunkin' Donuts wanted to be known as Dunkin', which sounds innocent enough. It's kind of classy. It's kind of, yeah, we're proud of our country, until you do some research and you learn that America First actually belonged to the Klan. This is a picture from the 1920s in Binghamton, New York. Nice. Now let's return to our main plot line, which is Kevin Roberts. He is, again, the president of the Heritage Foundation. And Kevin published a book, and it was called Dawn's Early Light, Taking Back Washington to Save America. Remember, the author is Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, the author of Project 2025, which has now been rebranded as America First. Here is one of my favorite passages towards the beginning of the book. For America to flourish again, they don't need to be reformed. They need to be burned. A nice start would include every Ivy League college, the FBI, the New York Times, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the Department of Education, 80% of, quote, Catholic higher education, BlackRock, the Loudoun County Public School System, the Boy Scouts of America, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the World Economic Forum, the Chinese Communist Party, and the National Endowment for Democracy. He then spends the rest of the chapter just kind of reiterating the fact that what we have in America right now needs to, quote, burn, and that forest fires help life cycles continue. So again, we have to burn down what we have now. So according to Kevin, we got to burn the whole system down and start from the ground up and eliminate all those things he mentioned as a good start, his own words. I just wonder who wrote the foreword to this book. J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States of America. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gays and nays, I give you the real presidents of the United States. Isn't it odd that he is never around, that he is so quiet? Trump is out there being the distractive mouthpiece. These assholes are your presidents.